What's your advice to the new fathers on the team?
Oh my gosh. Good luck when they get to age 2, because that's where I'm at right now. And oh my gosh, he's out of his mind. Complete lunatic. It was a lot easier when he was like 1, and he didn't try to fight you if he was hungry or tired. So, enjoy these first 2 years, because your life will be hell after that. I'd say it would be my advice to the new fathers.
Full mobility now?
Huh?
Full mobility now?
Full mobility, yep. Try to watch tape at home. Good luck. Maybe get 5 plays in before he's asking for the cowboy and banging on the laptop. So, tough life, yeah.
There's been a lot of talk about how the offensive side of the ball has improved over the offseason compared to this point last year. How do you feel like the defense has improved?
Yeah, I would say we've improved in a lot of different ways. I love what Monty was able to do over the course of the offseason and improve really the depth and the competitiveness of each position. And then I would say individually, the players, there was a lot of improvement I saw from guys that were here last year going into this spring, from the start of spring to the end of spring. Guys committed to it and put a lot of work in and got better, from a schematic standpoint, technique standpoint, physical, psychological, health, all of it, right? And guys really put a lot into it. I know they're putting into a lot of it right now. Wherever they're training at, they'll come back ready to go.
We know you won't be able to tell a lot until camp, but what have you seen just group-wise from the rookies in terms of how fast they've taken to the defense?
Yeah, they're highly intelligent. So, conceptually, they can understand things at a high level pretty fast, in the classroom, and then even out onto the field, to the point where and I'm really speaking for all of them, because I do believe this for all these guys are high football character, they're high intelligence. And so even if they mess something up on the field, they know it right away, which tells you they know it. They just need to bank the reps of the sensory process to it, right? And so the example I give is us coaches, we understand the defense obviously very well, but we don't actually have to go out there and rep it. And so actually moving through it and going through the read and going through all the senses of seeing it, hearing calls, feeling certain things is completely different part of the learning process. And so they have to continue to go through that to reach mastery of their technical execution and their schematic execution. And so they're all still going through that process. And what you'd like to see come training camp is they're starting to take big strides in all those areas within every part of the defense. And so that's what I'm looking forward to is, with those rookies and really every player, is seeing who's going to take those big strides when they grow comfortable within what they have to do on the field.
This is a big question, but when looking at last season, what did you learn about what you might be able to do personnel-wise and what your needs might still be coming into this offseason and the next season?
Yeah, I think every year is a new year, and you have to evaluate your current roster and what you're good at. And I think that's a forever kind of evolving process. You might start off with a lot of different things that you want to major in or at least get to at certain times, talking scheme-wise and deploying people in certain spots at the start of the year. And you might realize that you're better in some areas than others, and you want to start to major in those a little bit more. Maybe some weeks that changes depending on the opponent or who's available. And so it's a forever evolving, where do we need to adapt and change things and really hone in on let's do this at a high level in order to go win games, if that makes sense.
So even has said that for veterans, even like himself and Dennis, it's a lot of new things to learn this year, not as vanilla. He said as year one to lay the foundation. What's been your process of evolving and deepening the playbook this offseason?
Yeah, so I think it's something that you need to do after every year because the game changes, and as soon as you stop doing that, all of a sudden in 3 years you'll be pretty outdated, right? Because offenses are changing, and you got to be able to keep up defensively. So, I keep a running list. A lot of the other coaches keep a running list throughout the year of things that you know that you're going to want to change going forward, because what you ultimately want week to week is to not put in a lot of different things or not put in a lot of new concepts or new teaching so that the players aren't bogged down mentally and they can go play fast. And so that's making your defense better, right? It's making it more adaptable yet easy to digest, and you present complex to the opponent, but for the players it's simple. And so what we did as part of our process is in the defensive staff room on the board is just the whole board is covered with things that we knew we wanted to explore this offseason to potentially change. Whether that was changing things within our defense or just exploring completely new concepts. And each coach wrote on the board things that they want to change. It might have been terminology based. It might have been a new coverage, a new way to have pressures, but whatever that was, new techniques within the scheme. And we put it on the board. We studied it, we shared that information with each other, and we ultimately collectively came to decisions on how we can best restructure the defense, whether that was how we can get to certain things, how we play certain things, how we term certain things. And so the structure doesn't necessarily change, but there are a lot of differences and tweaks that we made that I think that Zaven's referring to, that we can do things a little bit different because we felt that was best with where the NFL is going in 2024 with offenses and what we have to be able to defend with the personnel that we have, right? Because as your personnel changes, you might have to change some stuff schematically. And so that's kind of part of our process of really collecting as much information that I'd say the first thing is being very intentional with where you want to go. And then from there, being thorough with your deep dive and really using that time in the off season to enhance your knowledge, because the more knowledge you have, then you can be more detailed and selective with here's how we want to best deploy this type of defense, and here's how we can teach our players so that to them it's very simple and they can go play fast and violent. So long-winded answer there, kind of to say it's not that we're drastically different, but we definitely take deep dive every single offseason.
How would you describe the identity of your defense going into year two?
Motor and violence, right? And it's always win the takeaway battle, limit the explosives.
Going off of that, though, during this time of year, there isn't really much opportunities to practice motor and violence. How do you evaluate that in someone's game when there isn't any contact?
Yeah, so we do practice motor, and we have our designations on the practice field for how we can measure that and what's the expectation and what's not acceptable. And so we coach that up. Violence is something that you have to bring on game day, and we have ways that we can measure the physicality of our play, but it's not something that you can't practice that. Boxers and MMA fighters, they can't go full bore every day in training, right? So that is something that you have to show up on game day with that mentality.
Doesn't in part practicing motor leads to violence during the game?
Absolutely. They absolutely play hand in hand because good things happen around the ball, right? So 100% motor and violence go hand in hand.
What's your thought on the overall in the cornerback room with
It's
Sean, of course, a veteran, then a lot of youth. There were rookies, guys from last year, Garrett, Starr. What's your overall thought on that?
I mean, I think it's pretty simple. It's highly competitive, and it's up for grabs for guys to go take and earn spots, which is a great problem to have, So I'm excited. It's going to be really good competition. I want to see a lot of guys take strides during training camp, and I want there to be tough decisions on who's going to earn certain roles.
Last year, he played primarily in the slot. Or
Garrett?
Garrett.
Yeah.
Does he have an opportunity to maybe not leave the field?
Yeah, absolutely. Garrett has the ability to play, honestly, every position in the secondary. So he 100% has the ability to go out there and earn a role to play every down.
How much better do you think Zaven can be entering this year? How much more comfortable has he looked so far this year?
Yeah, he's looked really good. He knows he's going to continue to take strides. He has to take strides in every area of his game. Certain things that I know he has honed in on that he wants to improve on that me and him and Rob have devised a plan on. Here's where you can take your game to the next level. But I'm really excited to see where Zaven's going to go this year. I know I've expressed that a lot. Everything that he brings to this defense, from motor and violence to taking the ball away to being extremely versatile. Like it's as a coach, I absolutely love the guy and I love the player and the versatility that he brings. So I know I've harped on that a lot, but I'm excited to see him improve his game in every aspect.
Was it pretty easy to keep everybody here staff-wise? And I mean, everybody has a choice to make the end of the season, right? But I mean, was it that easy as it seems to have everybody back, or was there ever a discussion about let's run it back as a whole?
As a staff? Yeah, I would let JG probably touch on any kind of staff decisions, but yeah, I'm very excited to be working with the same guys.
How many headaches do you think Marvin's going to give to DCs around the league?
I can't speak for other DCs, but he's a tough cover in practice. I know that, but he's going to make us better, which I'm excited about. So he definitely made some plays this spring. I definitely talk a lot of smack to him. And then I go tell the DBs, I said, hey, guys, I just talked a lot of smack, so you better go back me up out there in practice. So it's fun to see him out there on the practice field, and competing against him is going to make us better.
But he doesn't trash talk back, right? He said he's pretty quiet on the field. Or he
Yeah,
trash talks you.
he's pretty quiet. I'd say Mike Wilson Dortch trash talks me back pretty good. Me and Dortch go back to Wake Forest together. So I love talking smack to the offense. James, Connor, love talking Fro, the O-line. Oh, I love getting after the O-line. I tell whatever we're not going to do that day, I'm telling them, like, guys, we're ripping zeros all day. You're not going to be able to pick it up. And then we just 4-man rush all day, just messing with their heads, man. I love talking smack to the offense.
Dennis has told us twice in the offseason that the guy he's looking at to make a big second-year jump is BJ.
Yeah.
Is he kind of concur with that and excited
Yeah.
to see you, especially after he got a slow start last year because of the injuries?
Yeah, I thought BJ last year just was continuing to progress and get better throughout the year, which is what you want everyone to do. I saw some things that I thought he took strides this spring. I was very pleased with things he did in the run game. I thought he improved. I was challenging him consistently, like, hey, I want you playing at this pad level or striking it like this, and he would go out there and do it. And so I saw those strides that he was making this spring. I want him to continue to build on that. I'm excited where he's going.
How will the new additions up front change what you're able to do as a coach?
Yeah, there's versatility within the guys that we have, without a doubt. With anytime you have guys that can play multiple spots, from covering the center to covering the guard to tackles to outside that tackle, it gives you a lot of versatility up front within a single guy being able to do a lot. So with the guys that we have, there's definitely a lot of versatility just because they're big guys that are highly athletic. And so you can ask them to do a lot of different things. No different than similar guys that we have at outside linebacker can do similar things. Guys we have at inside linebacker can do similar things. So I think when you have that versatility throughout the defense, it allows you to be very flexible within having the same group of guys on the field.
What did you see from Darius?
Is that going to be my question?
Well, who technically asked it here? It's your question.
Darius.
I think everything I described with the versatility and the skill set, I definitely see a guy that is serious about his job, and he loves his job. He enjoys it. Shows up with a smile every day. I think he's a real teammate. I think he's a real competitor. He's going to be fun to work with. I know that. So he's going to give it his all. I'm excited to see him take his strides, and we'll see.
JD said he kind of had to scale back Marvin in the best way, what he's doing away from the facility, maybe going over the weekend catching 100 balls, and just so he's fresh here. Is Darius the same way, where you kind of have to scale him back?
I would say so. He's serious about it. So I can't say that I would ever tell anyone to scale back. I don't like to scale back myself, so that kind of stuff excites me when I see guys work like those guys work.
Is his versatility that you were talking about one of the reasons you guys wanted him?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons that I think he adds value to this team, that being one of them, his character being the other, work ethic, skill set, all of that. So, that's part of it, yeah.
You mentioned the versatility of Garrett, back to him for a second.
Mm-hmm.
How important is that to have someone like that, especially with as important as pass defense is, obviously, that whatever the situation, he might be here, he might be there, wherever he might be, you have that flexibility.
It's huge. I think in a lot of different ways, with everybody available, you can do a lot of different things, right? Because he has the skill set. He can do any technique in the secondary, from the safety techniques, nickel, corner. But, when you're in week 15 and maybe not everyone's available and you got to move some pieces around, he gives you that versatility because he's so smart and he's rehearsed in all the techniques. So it provides value in a lot of different ways, but it definitely provides value.
You had a glimpse as to what LJ Collier could bring to the table last year.
Mm-hmm.
So far throughout the spring and summer, what have you liked from going from year one of the system to year two?
Yeah, it was unfortunate to, obviously got hurt week 1, so it's just all of a sudden, boom, season's over and suddenly stops. But year 1 to year 2, you could see a huge difference in his comfort within what we're doing. And so you can just, where he's starting at this year compared to last year, I'm hoping that means he's going to take that many more strides towards playing at a high level for us. So really excited with seeing that progress, even though it's after week 1, you haven't seen him play. So it's gosh, where is he at with things? And all of a sudden he comes back and he looks the best he's ever looked. So I'm excited to continue to build on that this spring, and I know he's going to add a lot of value to our defense.
The addition of Mac to the linebacker, does he offer something and anything different than what you guys got from Josh and Chris last year in that position?
Yeah, every player is different, and they'll bring different things to the table. I think the whole linebacker room honestly brings a really good skill set. Talking Max specifically, he definitely is a violent player. We talked about violence. That pops out on the tape to me, along with versatility. We keep talking about versatility. If you look at Max's tape last year, he played stacked. He rushed off the edge a little bit on third down. That fits the mold of what we're looking for. And I think, again, his football character, team first, it's through the roof. His work ethic, he shows up every day. He loves football. He definitely loves football. He shows up every morning ready to go. Why are you in my office? It's 6 a.m. Matt, get out of here. So that's the kind of guy that he is. So excited to work with him. I think that whole linebacker room is good competition.
Is he a lot like Kaiser? Do you see similarities there? And I guess what makes those two guys a really good tandem?
Yeah, they are. They're both violent. I would say that's one part of their game that they do share. That just comes to the top of my mind. I think they both have very natural feel, specifically in the run game. There's just something about guys that just hit the ball. That wasn't his fit. That wasn't where he needed to be per se. That was someone else's play. He just hits the ball. And I think both those guys do that fairly well. So those are some similarities between those two.
Dennis spoke about wanting to do more this offseason, wanting to pick up more. What do you want to see out of him this next year?
I want to see him take strides in every aspect of his game, because he is one of the more complete players I've honestly ever been around. I think he's extremely good pass rusher. He can cover as good as any outside linebacker can cover, and he can win with leverage in the run game. And he can provide value for us on the line of scrimmage, in space, all of that. And so if he takes strides in all parts of that in his game, he's going to bring that much more value to our defense. So I would say just everything.
We hear so much from all of you guys, coaches, about the football character and intelligence and all that. How's it feel as a coach when you get your hands on guys and you know that what the scouting department is that they're saying is not lip service, it's real in terms of what they provide you guys to work with.
I mean, that's why I do that's why I wanted to coach, is because the development of the players. The coach's job is to serve the players and get them to play at their highest level. And when you have players that have that football character and that are all in and they're reciprocating that effort that you want to put into them and they're putting back into themselves, then you know that the result is going to be that much greater. And so it's a good feeling as a coach when you know that this guy's going the extra mile, that you see Starling Thomas in the offseason not skip a morning where he's not meeting extra and putting in all kinds of work. You know what Zaven and Kaiser, I walk into this facility right now and I see them working like they're working because I know the kind of football character that those guys have. And so it's almost calming for me as a coach to know, like, we're all in. Like, we got a group of guys that are all in, and I'm ready to go to war with anybody like that.
How excited are you for camp to see what you really have?
Yeah, I'm excited. You're right, it's camp, right? That's the first thing, is it's one meeting at a time, one walkthrough at a time, one practice at a time. What I want to see throughout that is us improving and executing at a high level, all 11 guys, along with playing with high motor, and when it's game time, it's playing with that violence.